Hey Goobs, it's me Jiv, aka the Furry, coming today for some apparent reasons. So, in today's video we're going to look at quite a helpful topic I suppose, and that is what are the best social medias to meet furries or socialise with furries or whatever I'm going to title this video. But pretty much the main format is the best social medias to interact with furries. So, why I'm making this video is pretty obvious, but it's mainly because there isn't many, well, I guess you would say many social medias or much advice about wanting to speak to furries, I suppose. I think I've done a similar video, but it was more like a awareness video, like how to socialise with furries safely, but this one's going to be more like a list of social medias that definitely do have furries and spaces for the furry fandom that you can definitely go into and, you know, interact with furries in. This is a video that's most likely going to help a very new furry, or maybe an old furry or whatever. Pretty much, this is basically a Furry 101 video. I have not done one of those for ages, and you know what, I thought, hey, this video actually could be a pretty good tip. So, let's begin with the video, shall we? Okay, so the first one on the list that I want to add is Telegram. Now, personally, I'm going to be for real with you guys, I do not know much about Telegram. The only things that I do know, why I'm putting it on this list, is that there's a lot of furries, and it seems to be quite an easy app to use, because it's kind of like WhatsApp and, well, I'm going to say WhatsApp mainly because it's just like a messaging board, it's nothing new, it's just like your average messaging, there's just group chats and stuff. I was going to say Discord, but it's kind of similar in the aspects of how you get into like group chats, it's like links and stuff, kind of like Discord links, so you know, it's got that similarity. I won't lie, the Telegram might be a pretty decent option. I don't know much, like I don't know much about it, but it just seems like a very easy to use platform, and I'm very sure there is definitely invite links for, you know, furry group chats and stuff, maybe some in your area, maybe like the UK, US, Germany, I don't know, just wherever you are, I suppose, if you want to do that. I don't know if there's any risks about it, to be fair, but what I do know is that it seems just to be like basic average messaging app, so that's all I've got to say about it, so yeah, sorry. Okay, so the next one on the list is Discord. Now, Discord is actually a pretty good hub for furries, I will not lie. With having a lot of Discord servers just revolving around furries, I mean shit, even I have one. And also with like your favourite furry content creators even having their own servers and stuff, it's quite a popular pick, to be honest, for the furry fandom. But however, I'm going to be for real with some of you guys, it is not one of my recommendations personally, if you're under the age of 18, but we'll get to that. So what is Discord and what is it all about? So technically the best way to describe Discord, in my own head anyway, is that it's pretty much like WhatsApp or like Telegram, I guess you would say a good example, but instead of it being like one group chat, there's like loads, there's like an art section, there's like fucking hell, there's like an art section to post your art, there'll be like a meme section, pretty much you name it, it'll probably be there, you know, from what you expect on your average, you know, Joe, I suppose. I don't fucking know. I don't know what you're willing to expect, but, you know, there'll be, like, extra things in that server on Discord, pretty much. That's how it goes. Now, with Discord, I will not lie, it is pretty much a massive hub for furries as well. So if you want to interact with the fandom, I would say Discord is probably one of your go-tos, which is kind of cool as well. And also there's like loads of servers around furries, I think, which is pretty cool as well. So you can easily find a spot, I suppose, and stuff, and, you know, just see what servers fit for you, I guess. But anyway, I'm going to stop like glazing about Discord because I actually want to bring up some cautions about Discord. I'm not going to yap about it too much, but I will say that if you are like under the age of 18, I would not recommend it. 16 is pushing it in my opinion. 17 and 16 are kind of pushing it, but like anything below that, I would just not recommend it unless you're like, I guess you would say, safe on Discord, I suppose, in like, I don't know, you just speak to your friends on there and stuff, you know, like go into like servers and stuff. I don't really know how to describe Discord, but I would say it's a very dodgy place at times, especially with there being like so many people like in them groups, such as like the furries, I'm gonna be for real, there'll be like some fucking weirdos, which can happen. I mean, as well, like from like all the things I've definitely seen off Discord, there's also some just weird ass servers as well. So, you know, it's a bit of a dilemma with Discord. It's kind of like it has its good, but it has a lot of bad, I think. But you just have to watch out for that in general, which I think most people can do. But it's, like I said, I would not recommend it if you're a minor. I wouldn't. But like I said, it's your life, you do what you want. I'm not going to, like, say no. But just take a note of what I have said about Discord. It does have some weird people on there. Just be safe. That's the best thing I can just say to you. That's just the best I can give. Okay, so the next one on my list is Amino. Now, I'm not gonna lie, Amino's a little bit odd for some because many furries, I think, have had a negative experience with Amino. Now, personally, I don't know how or where from, but personally, to me anyway, I think they're pretty unlucky. Now, I won't lie, I will say this, I've glazed Amino a few times on this channel, and this is probably going to be one of the last times, I'm sure of it, because the app's kind of dying at the minute. It's kind of going to be like dead, probably, at some point. But that's the only consequence, well, one of the cons about Amino, I think. Now, the second, like, I guess you would say consequence is just that it's kind of like Discord, that it has its own rules. I forgot to bring that up with the Discord app, but yeah, there's going to be like rules and stuff you're going to have to like pretty much obey, kind of. I know it kind of sucks, 1984 all over again or some shit like that, but the main point is I think it's an alright app. Now, personally, when I've used Amino, I actually met a lot of cool furries on there, I'm not going to lie. I haven't really met many like odd or like weird furries, which I don't know if I'm lucky or what, but those are like my personal experiences with using Amino. Like, I've not really found many weird furries at all. I mean, if anything, I found some pretty kind furries as well on there, which I thought was kind of cool. Also, note to add is that some of the communities I was in, like, I'm not too sure about this, but I'm like 80% sure, was that they had like a rule saying that no NSFW content, which I think is pretty cool and a pretty good way to go. Now, I think to describe Amino is kind of like, it's kind of like Discord, but like you can actually make like posts and stuff in them like groups and communities. They're also called communities as well, not servers. So like when I say like communities, I'm speaking like servers, like I guess you'd say like Discord, pretty much just like groups and stuff. And yeah, there would pretty much be like a place where you can like make posts and stuff. There's like group chats where you can like talk to other furries. To me, I would say it's a pretty good go-to, but the only consequences are is that, well, it's a little bit old. I will also say that it's old, it's kind of dying, and it's just like you just got to obey the rules, which I don't think is much of a consequence. I just think, or like a concern, it's just something that you just have to look out for. But yeah, other than that, I would say it's a great, decent app. Okay, so we're at the last one on the list. Now, this one's actually quite of an interesting one because I don't think many people have heard of it, but if you don't and if you do, it doesn't matter because I'm going to tell you anyway, and that is barq. Now, in my opinion, barq is actually quite a good app for furries because it revolves itself around furries. It's kind of cool. So the best way to describe it is that they've got a few features, and I'm going to describe them as quick as I can so I don't yap too much. And that is its first feature having like a location feature, so you can find furries around your area, which I think is very fucking cool, by the way. And I'm not gonna lie, you can also set your location to wherever. You can even turn your location off, by the way. You don't have to keep it on, so don't worry, you don't have to keep your location on. But I think it's kind of cool that that's also in there, so you can pretty much like find furries and stuff like that. And better part is that you can also message them as well privately and stuff. So like pretty much what you got to do is that you've got to add them, and then they have to add you, and that means then you can start messaging each other, which I think is pretty a safe system, I think, and pretty nice. As well, another thing I want to add onto this is that there is also a groups feature, which is also another cool feature on barq, where you can also find furries that have like other similar hobbies or similar interests that are more similar than just being a furry, which I think is also pretty kind of cool as well. I think that's kind of based. But, you know, other than like that, there's also the event feature, which is also another cool thing to add on to barq. So pretty much if there's any like events in your area, so like fur meets or furry conventions or whatever, anything that's local or wherever, pretty much you can add that onto your list, which is, I think, is a very, very cool thing to do. I mean, I've described it a lot more in my video about furry social medias, which I did not know about, which I made a video on. So yeah, I'm gonna add that at the end of my video as well. So if you're interested, then you can just watch that video as well. But whatever. The main thing that I want to add about barq, though, which I do want to quickly add as a bit of a disclaimer, is that barq is 18+. Now, honestly, I can respect the people who created barq to make it 18+ as well, which I think is kind of cool. But, you know, probably to like most young furries, it probably isn't very cool. And I can understand your frustration, but at the same time, I can also understand them making it 18+ as well, on some degrees that I'm not going to get into because I'm just going to yap all the, you know, for the entire video. So, yeah, the other thing about barq as well, I'm not too sure about this, is why I'm adding it to the end of the video, because I'm not very sure, And that is, I'm pretty sure they've got like a feature to like turn off explicit or NSFW content, which I think is kind of neat, and I can highly respect that, by the way, from barq if they've done that, which I'm not fully sure, but if they have, then that is kind of cool. So you know, it's kind of good for like furries that don't want to see that sort of content as well. But anyway, enough about that. This is like the end of the list, which I think's a pretty decent list. Now, some furries are probably going to ask, why didn't you include, like, say, Twitter or Reddit or, you know, Blue Sky, for example? Like just a few examples there. And that is mainly because, in my opinion, and as a furry myself, I don't really recommend these apps at all to anybody. But it's completely up to you. Like I said, I don't necessarily, like, hate these apps per se. I just don't really recommend them for, you know, using to interact with other furries, I feel, because let's be honest, Twitter is just Twitter, and people get really angry on Twitter, and people just start stuff on Twitter, like, you know, dramas and stuff, and it is very prevalent in the furry fandom. I think that's also why. And Reddit, well, Reddit's just Reddit. I'm not even gonna explain Reddit, to be honest. Maybe I might make a personalized video about Reddit, but not anytime soon. And Blue Sky, I don't know nothing about Blue Sky at all. Like I've heard it's a decent app with Blue Sky. I'm not going to say it's bad, but like, it isn't something I know about too much. And I might even make a part 2, actually. You know what I mean? I might even make a part 2. But, you know, we'll just see how this video goes, I suppose. But anyway, I'm going to go now. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you in the next one. Anyway, goodbye, guys.